Hello, good morning,
Good
Thomas and
morning.
Pamela. How are you?
We're good.
We're good. It's great to see you. It's nighttime for us, but we're very excited.
So we are, two extreme ends of the world.
We are.
So thank you, Thomas and Pamela, once again for giving me this opportunity to interview you both.
Our pleasure.
Yes.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. So friends, we have a wonderful couple here. Let me tell a bit about them. So Thomas and Pamela are both licensed clinical social workers and practiced as psychotherapists for decades. A few years ago, they converted their practice into one of coaching and love the positive perspective this approach brings. Having met and fallen in love, so we will ask more about their love story in a while. In graduate school over 29 years ago, though you don't look like, oh my god, this couple I met 29 years ago. So Tom
And it's 35 now.
Yeah, I guess we need to update that.
So I have to update it now. The secret is revealed more. And Tom and Pam have been on a quest to find the most effective techniques to assist people in meeting their therapeutic goals and healing their emotional and cognitive limitations. This quest eventually led to the creation of Ask and Receive. Again, that is the topic of today's interview, friends. So we'll go deeper into it. Highly effective energy psychology technique with their partner Sandy. Okay. They have extensive training in brief, systematic, and structural family and couples therapy, learning from some of the best in the field like Peggy Papp, Richard Fisch, and Jay Halley. They received advanced training. Have you guys ever relaxed? Advanced training and certifications in both NLP, thought field therapy, additional expertise in energy psychology techniques like EFT, TAT, BSFF. Oh my God, you guys are really.
It sounds very impressive.
Sounds great the way you say it.
So, to be having successful career for decades long and to be where you are, it is like these are the connecting dots where it really motivates me, introducing you, and it brings me goosebumps. So let me continue, friends. It is still there. Tom has created two other powerful techniques, releasing through love and higher states therapy. Pam is certified InterPlay Leader and has been trained in mind, body, spirit therapy for chronic illnesses. Pam has also been taught and adopted by a Native American shaman. So there is this spiritual dimension as well. So Pam and Tom train and work with people around the world to heal relationships and transform limitations in their lives. So that is what Walk the Talk, a beautiful couple with 35 years in the relationship and also helping people with relationship issues. Let me get started. Like, how did you get into working with the couples? Why not corporate? Why not sports? Why not else somewhere else? You would have done something. How did you get into working with couples?
You really want to know?
Yes.
Okay.
Secret behind 35 years of wonderful relationship and also getting into working with the couples. So please.
So 35 years ago, we moved 3,000 miles. We got married,
Okay.
and we got new jobs all at the same time.
As new social workers.
Yes.
Yes. So we were just starting out in psychotherapy.
And in the United States, you know, when you first start out, you work in a agency, a counseling agency. So we were doing that and we were really stressed. And we started to fight and not get along.
Okay. Thank you for
So,
revealing that about fight, because people have this misconception that good couple, like wonderful couple, means they don't have fights, they don't have any issues. Thank you for transparently sharing that.
so we were working at a counseling agency. So we thought, okay, we're new to the area. Somebody in the agency has to know of a good couple therapist.
Okay.
So we got this name and we had to drive an hour and a half to go see her. And as we were driving, we would talk about what we're going to do in the city because it was near Philadelphia. And after the session, and we would go to the session, and the therapist would really focus on every single problem we had.
Okay.
And so on the way home, we fought like crazy. And we didn't go have fun at all. So this went on. So we were committed.
Because we were new social workers.
Yeah.
So we figured this counseling thing has got to work, right?
So we went every week faithfully. Same thing would happen every single time. And finally, the therapist said, listen, dears, you're very young. Get a divorce now. Your backgrounds are too dissimilar. Separate, get a divorce, find new people that are new partners that are more aligned with your family of origin.
Oh my God.
It
Therapist advising that to get divorced.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
It was crazy. So we fired her and we said, we are going to make this work.
Yeah, it was actually the best thing she could have done, because then we got to hate her instead of each other.
Yeah. And so, she didn't know strategic family therapy, which is
Right.
that could have been an intervention. She had no knowledge about that. So we then said, okay, we got to figure this out. And we went away to Mexico.
Mhm.
And in the mornings, we would work on each other. And then we would have fun in the afternoons. So we did this every year for several years. Our relationship kept on improving. And we perfected this technique of couples therapy and on each other. We tested it out with our relationship.
Okay.
We had children, we did fine. It all ended well. So that is, and that learning is what inspired us to do couples work.
There is your own story. There is your own pain involved.
Well, in fact, we met in social work school.
Okay.
And while we were going to school, we knew other people who came to the school and they were married. Everybody who was married who came to the school got a divorce. But we came out getting married. But being married is hard, it's hard work. And it caused us to have to be honest and open up and find new ways of letting go of stuff.
Yes.
And how to unconditionally love your partner no matter what, and how important a positive intention in therapy is to really lead people into achieving what they want. So that's what we found, is that establishing a positive intention is one of the most important things a therapist can do.
Okay, so now I understand, I'm just assuming when clients come to you and start sharing their story, okay, I've been there, go ahead, I'm listening. Because I've been there, I know. The relation was, thank you for sharing your story. It's not that Tom and Pam met, they fell in love, fast forward 35 years, we are talking now. This is a journey, there is a pain, there are a lot of things have happened.
And every relationship over time is going to have trauma in it.
Trauma in it.
Yes, it is, unless it's a miracle. But I haven't met any couple that hasn't had some trauma in the relationship, whether it's other relatives, it's death, it's something happens. Relationships, when the initial infatuation subsides and those connecting hormones kick in, that's when you begin to can sometimes have conflict, because in intimate relationships, whatever issue you have that blocks your heart, it's going to emerge. And you're going to blame your partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did this because
And vice versa. But it's really all about you and your projections, your negative beliefs, your judgments, your trauma, your negative emotions. That's really the key.
Okay, so Pam, I'll get into that question in some time because you are speaking the truth, which can really trigger a client. And then no, my husband is, my mother-in-law is, my father-in-law is the reason. You do not know because you haven't lived my story. I'll get into that question in a while. So for that, I want to ask, like, see, you now I understood how you got into working with the couples, and you have a long success story. But of course, not just by luck. There is a lot of efforts you have put in getting trained, and you both worked on each other, started fine tuning your own methods. You have improved it. How is your couple and relationship work different from other couple and relationship work?
Can I take that one? At
Go
least in
for
the
it.
beginning.
Go for it.
With permission, and
He's learned. He's learned.
This is how we make it this long.
yes.
So the way we look at couples therapy, it's kind of like turning the original couples therapy, the kind that we had when we were young people, on its head. So instead of starting out with what's wrong, we start out with the positive intention.
Wow.
We start out with, what is it that you want in your relationship? And then when people come in and start to talk to us about what's blocking them from having that, that becomes their issue to transform for themselves.
Okay.
So if the wife comes in and says, my husband won't ever pick up his socks and I think he's doing it to make me crazy, we can target that feeling that he's making her crazy, that judgment, those limiting beliefs that she's holding, and help her transform that so that she can see her husband in a different light. And then the husband, it often goes in a stepwise situation, because in long-term relationships, this is a secret that most people don't know, which is
Secret is released.
yes, here's the secret, which is people in long-term relationships have judgments about each other.
Okay.
Right? Husbands judge their wives and wives judge their husbands. And those judgments belong to the person who's holding them.
Okay.
So if I have a judgment about my wife, that's my job to fix. And if she has a judgment about me, that's her job to fix. And as those judgments are transformed, then the whole relationship changes.
Wow. Okay.
Because what with more traditional therapy, what they're doing, I like to call it, let's make a deal therapy.
Okay.
If you pick up your socks, then I will, put my dishes in the sink or something, that where there's, you're making a deal so that you can all get along.
Okay.
That doesn't lead to real transformative change. What leads to transformative change is when we really can transform those judgments and beliefs and traumas that are holding us back.
Wonderful. Yeah.
But what happens is that when you have a judgment about your spouse, you think it's reality. You think
Yes.
it's true.
Yes.
And you can list the facts of why it's true, right? However, it doesn't feel good to you having that judgment because it affects your relationship in a negative way. If I'm thinking negative thoughts about Tom and we live together, he's going to feel that. I don't even have to say anything. He can feel the negative energy pouring off of me. So it's important, and it hurts my energetic being. So it's good for me too to work on myself, my own judgments. And you can do this. You can take this out of the couplehood. You can do it for whoever you're having a judgment with, your mother-in-law or your friend or your sibling, or so it can really reverberate outward.
Thank you, Tom and Pam, for that. Before getting into asking about a main topic of this interview, I'm going to ask one very, very bold question. Do you guys still fight? Even after 35 years, even
Yes,
after doing so
we
much
do.
work? Yes.
We do. We do, but it's less and less.
Less.
And less intense.
Yeah.
Too, as time has gone on.
Yes.
And it usually happens because we forget who the other person is for a moment.
Beautiful.
You know, we start to think that the other person is somehow our opponent instead of that we're on the same team. And so sometimes, you know, there will be, you know, I'll want something or she'll want something and we'll rub against each other. But we quicker and quicker we're able to pause and reflect and then let go of those judgments or whatever it is that's causing.
Or negative emotions. That's a big one, negative emotions. And we also now, you know, we know so many different techniques, and of course we're going to use them on ourselves.
Awesome.
And if we're resourceful. If you're not resourceful, you can kind of forget. But if once you take a nap, and then you can do your technique on yourself, right? That gets you back on track quicker and quicker and quicker. And so I give my clients techniques to use when there's a big fight, there's emergency drama protocol, you know, there's all kinds of things. And of course I'm going to use it also just because I want to be congruent in my life, in my personal life and in my life with my clients. I want to be authentic and have it be not just for them, but for my own life.
Amazing. The reason for asking this question is because, you know, I come across this word called perfectionism. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. That's the reason relationship is not working. The people feel that relationship means it is between two perfect people. But it's other way around. That's the reason I asked. Even after 35 years of relationship, still there could be certain conflicts. Doesn't matter how much you are trained. Doesn't matter you are specializing as a couple therapist. There could be. There could be. So that's the reason it made me ask that question. Yeah.
Well, I think when we were younger, we thought we were more perfect than we do now. You know?
Yes.
When we first started doing
small
therapy.
correction. You shouldn't use were younger. You are younger. Very young and amazing couple. Yeah.
But I think that we are very committed to making it work.
Wow.
And so that is the underlying foundation. So we're going to make it work no matter what comes up. We sometimes have to find a way to do that. But
and it's a special kind of commitment because we're committed to being happy together, not just to stay together and be miserable no matter what.
Yes.
that's a very important
Yes.
correction.
Yes.
We want to be together and be happy and have a love-filled relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, I come from my grandparents had an arranged marriage, and they had a long-lasting committed relationship, right? But when my grandfather died, my grandmother realized for the first time that she loved her husband. So we want to know that we love each other.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you very much. It was very touching. So let me straight away get into this. Know about your Ask and Receive program and how is it beneficial? Because this Ask and it is given, it reminds me of my favorite book from the Abraham Hicks, and just wanted to ask, like, Ask and Receive, somewhere I have heard this. Just want to know about your program and how is it beneficial?
Do you want to start or do you want me to?
You can go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
so
Jane, Tom,
Ask and
got the
Receive.
permission. Go ahead, Tom.
Ask and Receive. Well, we didn't sort of figure out who was going to go first on it.
Yes. No, just
So-
kidding, because we can have fun and have fun together. That's just kidding.
So Ask and Receive kind of came about with, I was working with another friend of ours named Sandy Radomski. And I've always been fascinated with higher states of consciousness.
Okay.
And so I was doing a lot of work with higher states of consciousness, helping people move into higher states of consciousness. And my friend Sandy was doing a lot of work with muscle testing.
Okay.
And so we kind of put those things together and realized that we didn't have to move into higher states of consciousness. We could use muscle testing as a way to be able to access different states of consciousness.
Wow.
So what we were doing is we were accessing the problem state where the problem is held, the trauma is held.
Mhm.
And then we went to the part of consciousness that already had the answer to fix that.
Okay.
And so we were shocked that it was quite that simple. But we started to play with using the muscle testing as a way to be able to simply access the healing that we needed for those parts of self that were holding on to trauma. That's where Ask and Receive came from. It was like, wow, this is like out of the Bible. You know, it's like you're just asking for it and you're receiving it. And so Sandy and I started doing this for a while, and then Pam took it in a whole different direction, using sort of the felt sense in the body as a way to be able to access this information.
So there are 3 different types of Ask and Receive.
Okay.
There is the muscle testing
Okay.
kind. Then the simple Ask and Receive is just repeating these 5 sentences to make any change you wish to achieve. And then there's the felt sense, which is using the body as a barometer, as a guide for treatment. So instead of you're using an internal muscle testing, the client will tell you about their sensations that they're having. And once those sensations, I don't know, like it's kind of like Tapas acupressure technique. When there's a positive shift, you know that it's complete with the felt sense.
Awesome.
So
we've taken that. Is there anything else we want to add about Ask and Receive?
Well, I think maybe, do you want to give an example of, or why don't I give an example? Because I have the thought. So for example, if you're doing Ask and Receive and someone is very upset about some socks that are on the floor,
Okay.
You can have the person notice where in the body that upset is. You know, that feeling of rage or the hurt in the heart or whatever that is. And you can have them focus on that and make these simple statements and witness a shift in that feeling state, as it either lightens up or it moves around and then leaves the body.
And usually, a lot of times it either goes up and out or down and out.
Okay. Okay.
So do you want to hear the 5 sentences so you can get a better idea?
Yes. I was
Okay.
thinking, and you
So-
got mine.
Okay, so let's say the person's irritated about those socks on the floor. They're always on the floor, okay? So let's say you would just guide the person to say, there's a part of my being that already knows how to heal and release this irritation that is right here in my throat. What it represents, all of its roots and its point of entry. That part of my being is willing to inform the rest of me now. It's doing so now with grace and ease. My mind, body, and spirit are receiving this information. Information transfer is now complete. And then you have the person think about those socks on the floor.
Okay.
And how do you feel now? So it's kind of like emotional freedom technique. You're gauging if there's been improvement or not. And then you just kind of chase the symptom. But then you want to figure out what the person wants.
Okay.
I want to feel calm and peaceful. When I see those socks on the floor, it's no big deal. So you can install that with those 5 sentences.
Amazing.
Right? So then what you can be asking the person is, how true does that feel right now? The statement, I feel completely comfortable and content with those socks on the floor.
Okay.
And for most people, even when they get rid of the irritation, they still won't be comfortable with those socks on the floor.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So you want to be able to not just tolerate your partner. you want to really be able to accept your partner. And the magic of it all is once you do that, somehow the socks magically get picked up. It changes the transaction that goes on in the couplehood.
So, I've had experience with couples where they have a big fight, right?
Okay.
And so, and they just really can't talk to each other because they're so upset. So one person in the couple does the ask and receive on themselves for their negative emotions, for their judgments, and then they're self-calming, they're self-healing, they actually feel better. And so they're actually in a good mood. They're not even faking being in a good mood. They're in a good mood. And they have an interaction with their partner, and their partner notices, wow, they're in a really good mood, and they feel better. And then sometimes they work on themselves. And then the couple, once that person works on themselves, they come together and they can actually talk about the problem and reach a solution in a very good way, because they both are resourceful now and both are in a higher state.
Awesome. And Pam, when you were telling these 5 sentences, it was like now Pam is going to take me into a guided meditation.
Yes, that's what.
Yes, I got it. Why don't you
Yeah.
come up with a guided meditation? Or I don't know if you have already created a guided meditation. Is there anything that you created about that?
Well, it is accessing a higher, wiser part of you.
Okay, okay.
And it does, when I have people repeat it back to me, I tell them not to memorize the 5 lines because they're very easy to memorize. Just listen, repeat back my words so they can get into kind of a trance state.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
so you got it.
experienced it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the lines are from the higher state work that we were doing, which was largely based on guided meditation in order to be able to access the higher states. But what we realized is those higher states are always available to us. It's just that our minds aren't tuned into it all the time. And we didn't need to take the time to keep tuning in because it was already there. We just needed to ask for it and it would happen.
And then you
Sorry, Pam. Sorry, please go ahead.
no, so like Tom said, you ask for it and then you receive the help because you've asked your higher, wiser part to help you with something.
Amazing. And what I was about to tell is, I understood one of your secrets of success. When you are working with couples or clients, whoever, you're already in a higher state. That is what I could gauge with, that kind of state you are in, and the way you're working is also uh, maybe the secret of success, why you are where you are.
It is important. It is important. And the cool thing is the longer you do this, the more benefit we get from it.
Yes.
In terms of being able to have our clients help us to maintain and access these higher states.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
The state of the therapist is really important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pam, please go ahead. Because I have so many questions when it comes to relationship. That's the reason maybe I have to, okay, Nizam, calm down. Yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, Pam, please. You're about to tell something.
Well, no, I'm just saying that it's whoever you're with, whoever you have an intimate relationship with, whatever, even if you're not married or not involved in a significant relationship, you have some significant relationships, and you're always, well, this is God, mystery, the universe, whatever word you want to use. I mean, really, I think the purpose of our living is to achieve an open heart and open and be more loving. So whatever is blocking you is going to come up in any intimate relationship. And so it's this opportunity to open your heart more and to clear any blocks or trauma that's stopping you from loving more and more.
Wonderful. What I observed is you're already in the state what you want to help your client to achieve. That is one thing. Second thing, what I noticed is when you're talking, your hands are more near your heart, and when you're that is one thing. And each time you're pointing towards Tom, also your hands are towards his heart. Connectivity, like when you're talking from heartfelt conversation and you're relating to him with love, and your hand is moving straight away towards his heart. So a small observation what I observed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. And I didn't
Why
know
am
I did
feeling
that.
good? Why am I feeling good? So that's where I just started observing this.
Aw.
So, okay. One major question, like this is the meme which always is popular on Facebook and various social media. People in the therapy, or because of people who needed therapy, are not in the therapy. So husband needs therapy, but husband is not in the therapy because of the husband. Wife who is suffering is into the therapy. So now this person comes into, let's say, walks into your clinic and says like, because of my husband and this and that, and obviously the therapist turns, helps to look within, and that comes the conflict. Like the other person doesn't change, I have to change. Other person, if the other person changes, I will be happy. But that is not true. This is like only couples have not come to you. Only one person, either wife or husband, has come to you. And how still does this ask and receive program help?
Okay, good question. So, very good question. I actually have experienced this many times. For example, there's this one man who came to me. His wife refused to go to therapy.
Okay.
And so we worked together, and it was so effective in healing his blocks to loving his wife, and changing, reverberating his positive state towards his wife, that after 6 months, she wanted to come into therapy too. And then I work with both of them.
Wonderful.
But also traditional couples therapy, there's traps to traditional couples therapy. And traditional couples therapists burn out very quickly because very often they feel like they're being used as a judge. And the couple is coming in and they're saying, she did this or he did that. And you're supposed to say who was right and who was wrong. And that never leads to anything good. But what we're doing is we're giving people an opportunity to transform their own stuff in order to open their heart. So when a couple comes in and says, my wife is, and starts saying all this bad stuff, I can focus on the husband and say, all right, well, let's heal that judgment that I just heard, or that negative feeling that you're having. So all of a sudden that changes the whole scope of the therapy, because the husband's not thinking, what am I going to complain about this time?
Okay.
Because he knows he's going to have to do the work when he comes in, when he complains about it. And so it's transformative in that way also. And so that way, if only one person comes in, worst case scenario, that person is going to have a more loving, open heart. It might not be that they stay in relationship forever,
Okay.
but it increases the probability that that could happen.
Okay.
Right? So a husband can't heal a wife's trauma.
Problem.
And a wife can't heal a husband's trauma, but they can heal their own judgment about what's happening, which may be all that's necessary to transform that relationship.
Wow.
Or to start that transformation.
Wonderful.
So whether a couple comes in together or an individual comes in, the first thing that we're wanting to do with them is establish a positive statement, what they want to achieve. And then from there, we work on the blocks, healing and releasing the blocks, or clearing and dissolving the blocks and the negative emotions.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And see, here I am trying to understand. Yes, now I'm getting a fair idea about what ask and receive program is. And this might not be just restricted to wife and husband, because as we are working on ourselves with our relationship with our colleagues, with our boss, with in-laws or friends or whosoever, it starts spreading across in different dimensions of life is what I understand.
Yes.
Yes. And And what's also interesting is when we use the ask and receive form that uses muscle testing, what that allows us to do is figure out what the originating trauma was. And so what we discovered, and we had no idea about this before we started this work, was that most of the traumas that bother us, the things that make us feel really bad, are from things that happen really early, like within the first 5 years of life, usually. And that's why those really horrible things where you just feel like you're losing your mind, that's why they feel so bad, because the consciousness at the time that that trauma occurred gets locked into our cells. So it's not our adult selves that is feeling this. It's this little, very young part of us. And once we find that, we can release it.
And it's really very intimate when a couple comes and one person is needing to work on their traumatic event and the other partner is observing and watching with love and compassion as their beloved is working through this trauma. And then not only are they supporting the other person, their spouse, but they are seeing that it's not about them. They're not taking it personally anymore because they can see why that person was reacting the way they reacted. So it broadens their whole understanding of their partner, and naturally more compassion is involved here.
Okay. So I'm talking to little Tom and little Pam who have healed themselves. Yeah.
Which doesn't mean that there aren't other little Toms and little Pams.
Yes. But
Yes,
still,
life
now I know who I'm talking to. Why am I feeling that love exchange? Wonderful. We have spoken about the individuals like couples and all that. Let's shift into the therapists and coaches, like the professional end. Do you train people in this ask and receive program, the other therapists and coaches who want to get trained and use this methods into their practices? Is there any training programs available on this?
Yes, we have trained internationally, live in person before COVID. We have gone to Canada and England and all over the United States and doing 3 to 5 day trainings with our partner, Sandy Radomski, who's also a licensed clinical social worker and a naturopath. And then we have done several online trainings as well. So,
but we slowed down a bit with COVID.
Okay. Awesome. So if people going to ask me like, what did you discuss with Tom and Pam? I said, I don't know. We just exchanged some love and felt good.
Good.
And also discussed about ask and receive program. So this has been wonderful talking to you, Pam and Tom. Like, you know, the reason I'm asking is this is the most best button, very sensitive topic, a relationship, and be it for therapists, it's one of the challenging aspect to deal with. Hey, couples, no, let me stay away. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with that. You have come all the way, long journey of 35 years and built your own methods, tried and tested and applied, walked the path. And thank you for this wonderful gift of Ask and Receive program, where you're also sharing with the world to make it, a beautiful place to live.
Aww.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
reaching out to us in order to bring it out to the world. We really appreciate it.
We really do. It was you just contacted us out of the blue, and it was lovely.
Yes. And I'm very grateful to you for giving me this opportunity to interview. All I can say is I just love you both. It was wonderful talking to you.
Aw,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yo, thank you very much.